Welcome to our Hong Kong Brief Show. Today, we have a riveting lineup of news stories that are sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. First up, media tycoon Jimmy Lai has been denied an early discharge and will proceed to trial on national security charges. The High Court judges found enough evidence against him, keeping this high-profile case in the limelight. Lai is accused of collusion with foreign forces and conspiracy to print and distribute seditious publications, charges he vehemently denies. The trial, overseen by 3 judges appointed by Chief Executive John Lee Ka-chiu, will proceed without a jury, as is customary in national security cases. Prosecutors allege Lai used his newspaper, Apple Daily, to incite international sanctions and public disaffection towards the government. Stay tuned for more updates on this gripping courtroom drama. Next, Hong Kong stocks took a nosedive, retreating to 3-month lows. The Hang Seng Index dropped 1.1%, while the Hang Seng Tech Index fell 1.6%. This sell-off was triggered by disappointing results from major tech companies like Alphabet and Tesla, affecting markets across Asia, including Japan and South Korea. Shares of Chinese commercial banks also fell after several cut their deposit rates following a reduction in China's key short-term policy rates. It's a tough day for investors, but we'll break down what this means for the future of the market. And finally, in a lighter yet equally captivating story, Hong Kong wildlife authorities have given a much-anticipated update on the escaped emu that's been under their care since May. The big flightless bird is doing well, enjoying feather brushes and tasty fruit. The Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department is working with animal welfare organizations to find a new home for the emu. It's a heartwarming turn of events for this feathered fugitive. Please stay tuned for more detailed coverage of these stories and much more. Don't go anywhere. South China Morning Post, Jimmy Lai, the embattled Hong Kong media tycoon, has faced another setback as a 3-judge panel ruled against his bid for early discharge in his national security trial. The High Court judges determined that the evidence presented was sufficiently strong to proceed, rejecting Lai's claim that it was too weak to secure a conviction. Lai, the founder of Apple Daily and a vocal critic of Beijing, is accused of colluding with foreign forces to instigate international sanctions against Hong Kong and mainland China following the enactment of the national security law in 2020. Despite 90 previous hearings, Lai's legal team argued that the prosecution had failed to prove his involvement in any criminal plot. Nevertheless, the judges decided there was a case to answer, and Lai continues to face charges of conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and conspiracy to print and distribute seditious publications. South China Morning Post, Hong Kong stocks plummeted to 3-month lows on Thursday, mirroring a global sell-off triggered by disappointing earnings results from major tech companies like Alphabet and Tesla. The Hang Seng Index fell by 1.1% to 17,137.11, its lowest since April 23, while the Hang Seng Tech Index and the Shanghai Composite Index also saw significant declines. The sell-off extended across Asia, with Japan's Nikkei 225 and South Korea's Kospi experiencing notable losses. The downturn was exacerbated by U.S. tech giants reporting weaker-than-expected earnings, which led to a 2.3% drop in the S&P 500. Chinese commercial banks also saw their shares fall after cutting deposit rates in response to the central bank's policy adjustments. For instance, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, ICBC, reduced its deposit rates, aiming to improve net interest margins, but its shares still fell by 1.4%. Nikkei Asia, Japan's Nikkei stock average experienced a significant decline of 3% on Thursday as professional investors began selling shares, driven by concerns over the adverse effects of a weak yen. The yen's depreciation, which had previously boosted exporter earnings and attracted foreign investment, is now seen as a potential threat to consumers and smaller companies. The Nikkei index has fallen 6% since mid-July, influenced by unexpected U.S. inflation data and subsequent market expectations of a Federal Reserve rate cut. The trend continued with notable drops in tech stocks, including Tokyo Electron and Advantest. Analysts like Yoshitaka Suda from Nomura Securities noted that commodity trading advisors have started unwinding their long positions, contributing to the sell-off. The yen's recent strengthening, although still at multi-decade lows, has added to market volatility. Schroders, a British asset manager, downgraded Japanese equities to neutral, citing the negative impact of the weaker yen on consumer and business sentiment. South China Morning Post. Former Hong Kong swimmer Wan Shuming reminisces about his remarkable performance at the 1956 Melbourne Olympic Games, where he competed in the men's 100-meter and 400-meter freestyle events. At just 16 years old, Wan, alongside fellow swimmer Chung Kin-man, represented Hong Kong. Though neither advanced past the 100m heats, Wan made a lasting impression in the 400m heats by gaining a 2-body-length lead at the 50m mark. Despite finishing last, his spirited effort garnered attention, with coaches and competitors swarming him the next day to inquire about Hong Kong. Born in Qianlong Village, Wan began swimming at 12 and competed in the 1954 Asian Games. His rigorous training, including swimming across the harbor daily, laid the foundation for his 6-time cross-harbor swim championship titles. Wan's journey to the Melbourne Games included a memorable twin-jet flight, and his time there allowed him to forge lifelong friendships with world-class swimmers. Although barred from the 1958 Asian Games due to eligibility issues, Wan's legacy includes holding multiple Hong Kong records and contributing significantly to the sport post-retirement. South China Morning Post. In Hong Kong, the integration of artificial intelligence, AI, into business operations is gaining momentum, with 41% of companies applying or planning to apply AI technologies. A study by the Hong Kong Productivity Council and the University of Hong Kong revealed an average investment of 830,000 Hong Kong dollars in AI, highlighting its role in tasks ranging from medical research to consumer behavior analysis. However, the rise of AI brings challenges, including privacy concerns and potential biases in AI-driven processes. To address these, Hong Kong introduced the Artificial Intelligence Model Personal Data Protection Framework, providing guidelines for safe AI implementation. This framework emphasizes risk management and human oversight, aiming to reduce compliance costs while ensuring data protection. As Hong Kong aspires to be an international innovation hub, this framework is expected to foster the responsible use of AI, contributing to the growth of the digital economy in the Greater Bay Area. By prioritizing safety and ethics, Hong Kong aims to harness AI's transformative potential for a better future. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong wildlife authorities recently provided an update on an escaped emu, sharing images of the bird enjoying feather brushes and eating fruit. The emu, under the care of the Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department, AFCD, is awaiting a new home. The AFCD's Facebook post, narrated from the emu's perspective, showed the bird being well cared for at an animal management center. The emu gained attention in May after being seen racing motorists and wandering through a public housing estate. Despite efforts, no one has come forward to reclaim the bird. The Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, SPCA, and Kadoorie Farm and Botanic Garden have stated they will not handle the emu's adoption, as it is not a common domestic pet. Ocean Park also declined to take in the emu. The AFCD typically detains stray animals for at least 4 days to allow for owner reclamation, but did not specify the emu's fate if not adopted. Emus, native to Australia and relatives of ostriches, are smaller and have unique physical traits, including 3 toes per foot. South China Morning Post. A group of Hong Kong officials led by Finance Chief Paul Chan Imopa visited Novelope, a Silicon Valley startup that converts hard-to-recycle plastic waste into a new material used in sports shoes. CEO Miranda Wong shared her journey from a high school science project to running a company with a pilot plant in India. Chan suggested Hong Kong as a potential base for Novelope, emphasizing its proximity to mainland China's tech hub, Shenzhen. Wong highlighted the importance of a supportive ecosystem, noting Silicon Valley's robust venture funding and community of like-minded entrepreneurs. She emphasized the need for Hong Kong to foster similar conditions, including changing investor mindsets and strengthening university-industry ties. David Liu, CEO of Delta Path, echoed these sentiments, stressing the need for Hong Kong to adopt a more risk-tolerant investment culture and expand its talent pool. Alfred Chuang, founder of Race Capital, also pointed out the importance of leveraging the Greater Bay Area and reducing reliance on government support to foster innovation. South China Morning Post: Hong Kong's publicly traded companies have voiced strong opposition to the Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing Limited (HKEX) plan to cap the number of board seats each independent director can hold and limit their tenure. Mike Wong Ming Wai, CEO of the Chamber of Hong Kong Listed Companies, argued that a hard cap does not ensure better performance and that directors should be trusted to manage their time and responsibilities. The HKEX proposal aims to address overboarding and improve corporate governance, setting a maximum of 6 board seats per director and a 9-year tenure limit. Despite resistance from some corporate figures, asset managers and brokers have supported the plan, emphasizing its potential to enhance governance. The proposal reflects a broader trend in global markets, with similar limits in place in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, London, Singapore, and Malaysia. The HKEX sees this as a necessary step to attract a diverse range of startups and meet the governance standards expected by global investors. South China Morning Post: teenager Yang Siki is set to make history as the first surfer to represent China at the Olympics, highlighting the stark contrast with Hong Kong's struggles to promote the sport. Despite having 42 beaches, Hong Kong does not have any professional surfers and faces challenges in fostering the sport due to bans on surfing at public beaches like Big Wave Bay. Ian Brownlee of the Hong Kong Water Sports Council pointed out the lack of facilities and pathways to competitive levels for aspiring surfers. He suggested designating specific areas of beaches for surfing to balance safety and sport promotion. Francesco Suarez, a founding member of a now disbanded surfing association, noted that Hong Kong's conditions are sufficient to produce skilled surfers, citing the success of the windsurfing team as an example. Joey Chan, a local surfer, lamented the negative image of surfing in Hong Kong and praised mainland China's efforts in promoting the sport, which have led to Olympic qualifications. South China Morning Post: Asian wealth management firms are setting ambitious targets to double their assets under management to $260 trillion by 2026, driven by a burgeoning number of affluent individuals in the region. According to a report by Accenture, based on a survey of over 4,500 investors and 650 relationship managers across 10 Asia-Pacific markets, this surge is largely fueled by cross-border investment demands. Notably, 60% of high-net-worth clients choose their wealth managers based on their offshore investing capabilities. The report highlights that wealth in Asia has grown by 177% since 2008, making it the fastest-growing region globally. Firms are especially targeting individuals with over $1 million in investable assets. To support this growth, wealth management companies plan to invest in generative artificial intelligence tools to enhance client engagement and streamline processes. For instance, relationship managers are expected to leverage these AI tools to provide in-depth analyses and personalized content, thus improving the overall customer experience. South China Morning Post: the launch of 9 spot Ether ETFs in the U.S. has significantly overshadowed the trading volumes of similar products in Hong Kong, which experts suggest could regain its competitive edge by allowing staking. While the US Ether ETF saw over $1.07 billion traded on their first day, Hong Kong's 3 Ether ETFs managed only 20 million Hong Kong dollars during their debut. This discrepancy is partly due to the smaller ETF market in Hong Kong and higher management fees compared to the US. Hong Kong's initial lead in approving Ether ETFs is now diminishing, prompting local cryptocurrency ETF issuers to push for staking approval from the Securities and Futures Commission, SFC. Staking allows investors to lock up tokens on the Ethereum network to validate transactions and earn passive yields, a feature that could attract more investors if Hong Kong becomes the first to allow it. The SFC is currently discussing this possibility with local firms, which could help Hong Kong maintain a short-term advantage despite the US's recent advancements in spot Ether ETF approvals. South China Morning Post: China's economic powerhouse provinces are intensifying their efforts to meet national GDP growth targets, focusing on measures to boost domestic demand and prepare for long-term bond financing. Hunan Province, for instance, has released a 40-point plan to stimulate growth through infrastructure projects and special bond issuances. The Chinese economy's slower than expected 4.7% growth in the second quarter has raised concerns about achieving the annual target of around 5%. Guangdong Province, the nation's top exporter, is under pressure to deliver better results, with first-half GDP growth at 3.9%. The province is considering new measures such as fiscal and tax support for tech firms, assistance for property developers, and consumption vouchers to stimulate spending. Guangzhou, the capital of Guangdong, is also focusing on urban renewal and promoting local enterprise investment to maintain economic stability. Analysts suggest that effective regional stimulus policies and addressing issues in the real estate market and unemployment will be crucial for the second half of the year. Coastal regions like Shanghai and the Yangtze River Delta are expected to play a significant role in supporting national economic growth. South China Morning Post: Chinese numerology is deeply intertwined with everyday life, influencing everything from real estate to dining habits. In Hong Kong and mainland China, the number 4 is often avoided due to its pronunciation being similar to the word for death in both Cantonese and Mandarin. Buildings frequently skip the 4th floor and any floor containing the number 4, while numbers like 8 and 9 are highly coveted for their auspicious meanings of fortune and longevity, respectively. This belief extends to car registration plates and phone numbers, where combinations like 888, triple fortune, and 999, triple longevity, are sought after for their promise of prosperity and eternal blessings. Even in dining, the number 7 is avoided due to its association with loss and endings, and major events like weddings often consult feng shui masters to pick the most auspicious dates, such as the opening ceremony of the Beijing Summer Olympics on August 8, 2008, at 8 p.m. South China Morning Post: In Hong Kong, the hybrid work model is becoming the norm as company leaders believe it boosts efficiency and helps retain talent. A recent survey by the International Workplace Group, IWG, found that 9 out of 10 CEOs have adopted this model, with many noting that full-time office presence is no longer a business priority. The flexibility of hybrid work has been shown to improve company culture and employee satisfaction, with 56% of those working 5 days a week on-site actively seeking new positions. Research by Stanford's Nicholas Bloom supports these findings, indicating that employees who work from home part-time are just as productive and less likely to quit. This shift has led to increased investment in hybrid work technologies, but it has also impacted Hong Kong's office market, with vacancy rates for Grade A offices reaching 13.6% and average rents declining. South China Morning Post: Mariah Kennedy Cuomo, niece of Robert F. Kennedy and daughter of former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, recently married Telef Lundaval in a lavish ceremony at the Kennedy compound in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. The wedding, attended by 400 guests, featured the bride in a Vera Wang gown and a Cleo Pepiat mini dress for the after-party. Mariah, who is the CEO of Socrates Social, a strategic advisory firm, has a prominent social circle, often seen with celebrities like Amber Heard and Chiara Ferragni. She also maintains political connections, having attended events with President Joe Biden. Despite the controversies surrounding her father, Mariah has publicly supported him, standing by him during allegations of sexual harassment in 2021. Andrew Cuomo eventually resigned as governor, but Mariah's loyalty to her family remains evident. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.